These next 10 days are going to be some of the most dramatic, overblown, chaotic, unpredictable energies that we're going to experience in the astrology for the entire year. It's so crazy and so chaotic that I decided to push up my forecast. I was supposed to be recording this for you next weekend, but I realized that if I waited that long, I'd be doing you a disservice because this is already happening. We're already in it. We're already experiencing the chaos, and you need to know how to navigate this if we're going to get through it in one piece. And so that's why I'm recording this video now. I'm releasing it today. And so you'll be forewarned, forearmed, and prepared to work with the energy that's coming up over this next week or two, as opposed to working against it or struggling against it, I should say. And so this is a huge, huge deal. Leading up to the full moon in the sign of Aquarius, which I will be focusing a lot on in this forecast, we are having a big dramatic energy of Mars, which has been transiting the sign of Gemini for quite some time, conjunct Jupiter. This comes exact on August 14th. Anytime Jupiter is conjunct Mars, this is a big, overly dramatic, overblown, really amplified energy where we're likely to take things too far, especially when it comes to our conversations and communications with others. This is an energy of arguments, disputes, and disagreements that are overinflated and that are made to be something bigger than they actually are. This is also an energy of taking things too far when it comes to our plans. And with Jupiter being at its fall position and Mars not being at its fall, it's not necessarily in a elevated position, but it's stronger in the sign of Gemini than Jupiter at its fall. Mars, which is a malefic energy, is overpowering Jupiter and causing us to take things too far in a way that could be detrimental, that could cause harm, that could cause irrevocable that could cause damage to our connections with other people that could be really hard to come back from. And especially when it comes to our one-on-one connections, especially when it comes to our important relationships, because there is a T-square forming. There is a T-square in the mix that's going to reach its peak energy on the 18th and the 19th, which is going to reach its peak around the 18th and the 19th of August. And so this is when we're having that full moon energy. So Saturn is squaring Jupiter. This is an ongoing energy that's going to be lasting for about a year. I talked about this in a video with Shanna Cross where we went into it in very great detail. Definitely watch that to get caught up on how this is going to be impacting you because it's more than just this week. Although this week is a very amped up, fired up energy. It's not just Saturn squaring Jupiter, it's Saturn squaring Jupiter with Mars in the mix. And so when Saturn squares Jupiter, there's something that we are really amped up about. There's something that we are expanding upon. And with Mars, we really feel like we need to get our way and push it forward. Saturn says no. Saturn says stop. Saturn says slow down. Oh my goodness. You are going too hard, too fast. You need to rein it back in. You need to retract. Saturn is an energy of retraction, restriction, slowing things down, delays. There is going to be a hard stop. There is going to be a challenge. There's going to be a delay to something that we feel really excited about pushing forward with in the coming week. And the reason why there's going to be other people involved, or there could be an increased probability of arguments, disputes, disagreements, problems involving other people is because Venus is in the mix. Venus is transiting the sign of Virgo. This is the sign of its fall. It's not strong in the sign of Virgo. Venus is the principle of merging things and bringing them together. It is a harmonizing influence. Virgo, on the other hand, wants to dissect things. It wants to break it apart and look at the individual pieces under a microscope. It wants to see the different parts and how they fit together, but it's not necessarily an energy about merging. It's an energy about scrutinizing. It's an energy about the details. It's an energy about criticism. And that is a big keyword of Venus in the sign of Virgo. That can be a hypercritical energy in your relationships, especially when Mars is squaring it. This could be wanting to help someone but coming across too harsh. This could be wanting to bring out the best in somebody else but pushing them too hard. This is also where Saturn and Mars, the two malefic energies, are technically in stronger positions than Jupiter and than Venus. Venus is at its fault, Jupiter is at its detriment, and Mars and Saturn are not necessarily elevated in their positions, but they're not being hindered either. And so the challenging energy, the energy of wanting to push forward, but like coming up against a wall, that is going to be the bigger energy than this beautiful, floaty, benefic energy of Jupiter square Venus, which is also there. Like it's preventing against the worst case scenario. It's helping to soften the energy a little bit, but it's not going to be like a normal Jupiter Venus energy where Jupiter and Venus are super strong and are working in their best capacity. Saturn is actually enhanced by being in reception with Jupiter. And that can be a good thing. It's kind of like Jupiter has been blowing something up and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And you've had all these opportunities, probably a lot of different opportunities that are scattered and that are hard to kind of sift through and pin down because Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, and Gemini is just like that. It's a mutable energy. This is a mutable grand square, or not grand square, T-square. This is a mutable T-square. And Saturn is like, that's too much. Pick one thing, right? Pick just a couple of things. Don't go all over the place. That's kind of the challenge of a mutable square, is that there's too much flexibility, too many opportunities, too many things to think about. And Saturn's saying, slow it down, rein it in, restrict it to just the most important things, and look at how this is going to impact you long term. This is not about short-term gratification, which is that Mars, Jupiter, especially the Mars. This isn't about just experiencing something pleasurable in the moment. That's that Jupiter Venus. This is about looking at how this is going to impact you well into the future. And this energy all comes to a head on the 19th, because that's when the Jupiter-Saturn square comes exact. And we'll have Venus squaring Jupiter the day before, actually on the 18th. So this is like an ongoing energy that's really powerful around the time of the full moon. The next thing that's happening is we have Mercury squaring Uranus. I talked about this in my Mercury retrograde forecast. Definitely go back and watch that, because you're going to want to understand how this is impacting you forward and backward so you can deal with the disruption. This is hitting us in an area of our charts and our lives where we want things to stay stable. This is the fixed energy. We have a fixed T-square going on here. And this is a very disruptive energy to the status quo. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's already been uncomfortable. Something happened around the middle to end of July that's coming back around, and we're going to have to deal with in a new way. It's kind of like phase 2 of the chaos that was happening during the first shakeup. It could be a shakeup that comes internally through our mentality, through our ideas, through our thought processes, where we're changing our mind about something. We changed our mind because of something that came in and gave us new information maybe back in July, and now we're having to change our mind again and change our plans. There's also just an energy where there could be like disruptive, chaotic communication coming in that's forcing us to shift or change our plans. There could also be this need to take a step back from all of it, because we have the full moon, which is in the sign of the detached, cool, collected Aquarius, right? This is more about not being in it, but observing it as if you're a third party. So it's kind of like our brains are on overdrive. We're ruminating and thinking and rethinking. There's a lot going on in our heads, and it's very hard to sort through it and figure out what the right next step is. But the moon is coming in, this full moon is highlighting this disruptive energy, but also pulling us out of it, because it's not in it, right? It's kind of outside of it. It's squaring all of it. It's making it a little bit more challenging and more predominant, but it's also allowing us to view it as if we were detached from the situation, emotionally detached from the situation, especially, so we can view it from a logical, linear, rational perspective and find new and exciting ways to deal with this energy, to make the changes we need to make. And these are changes we need to make. That's why it's coming up 3 times with this Mercury Uranus, and that's why it's being highlighted so strongly by the full moon. There's something here that just has to give. There's something here that we cannot continue on with when it comes to the status quo. We have to shake it up. We have to do it differently. And we've probably been resisting actually going all in with this big major change, because it's in the fixed signs, because it's in a place where we feel comfortable, because it's in a place where we don't want to make those moves. And so this is a big energy. This is what's going to be going on in these next 10 to 14 days. And this is why I'm putting out this forecast early, because it's already happening. We're already in it. We're already feeling it. You've already experienced some of the disruption. You're already feeling that really amped up intensity of that Jupiter Mars that's really building. That's going to come exact on Wednesday. And so you need to understand what's going on and how this is impacting your chart. And if this is something that you like, if you want me to do more forecasts, definitely hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like this video and comment below and let me know, if you want more, and also what's going on in your life. How are you experiencing this? I love hearing about the astrology in action. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. But before we do, I just want to make a quick, really exciting announcement. I have a new PDF guide for you that is 100% free. So my medical astrology quick reference guide is now available. So for those of you who are interested in medical astrology and you really loved my astrology 101 guide, which is also available down in the description below, you should definitely download that too, especially if you're newer to astrology. But my medical astrology guide walks you through the planets, signs, houses. And when it comes to the signs, it talks more about the modalities and how those work and the elements and elemental balance in medical astrology to get you started with just understanding the foundational concepts that you need if you're going to go on to use medical astrology for yourself in your own life. And if you are going to use medical astrology for yourself in your own life, if you do want to understand your own health and how to produce better results when it comes to your health routines, when it comes to your nutrition, when it comes to your exercise, when it comes to just feeling good and healthy and vibrant, check out my Celestial Vitality Workshop. This is happening on September 21st. Enrollment is open now. I'm doing it for 50% off, and it's already at a very affordable rate because I want this to help you. This is perfect for anyone who has a little bit of understanding of the signs, planets, and houses and wants to go deeper with understanding your unique astrological blueprint when it comes to medical astrology. Medical astrology is excellent because it can show you your bio-individuality. It can show you what's best for your body. It can explain why you can't have success with a certain diet, but your friend can. Why certain supplements impact you in a negative way, but that health influencer on Instagram says it's the best thing ever. Or why you can't seem to stick to your exercise routine, or you're having trouble sleeping, or you're having trouble just doing the basic things that you need to do to keep yourself healthy. This can help. And so that's what we're going to be discussing in the Celestial Vitality Workshop. Again, the link is down in the description below. You can enroll for only $29, you guys. This is like the lowest cost workshop I will probably ever do. And so I hope you guys take advantage. The price will go up after the 21st, and this is when you're going to be able to join me live. All right, so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries and Aries rising. For Aries, you might be experiencing some drama involving your community and especially involving communications, conversations, and connections with coworkers, people that you employ, right? People in your workspace. That could definitely be a thing. There's already this like overblown, overdramatic energy though around communication in your immediate environment. There could also be some sort of situation that's been coming up and that's building around vehicles or short distance travel that you're going to feel really passionate about, not a little passionate, but really passionate about. But again, it might be overblown or overinflated in some way. There could also be some big dramatic thing going on involving siblings, involving cousins, involving extended family members, where there's just unnecessary drama. And that drama might be coming from like a hidden source. There could be like something going on here where you've been expanding, and then something comes in from this like hidden space, or maybe somebody working against you in secret to like stop things and put a pin in it, which could actually be a good thing. Or it could just be that there's a need to kind of pull back and a need to spend more time in solitude, seclusion to kind of like pull yourself out of the situation. But definitely there could be some dramatic situations, some infighting in your workspace, or, something going on here where there's some dramatic situation going on with your community. The way to navigate this is to not get too amped up about it. Like backtrack, rein it in. If you feel like somebody in your workspace is being hypercritical, don't like over explode over it, right? Don't like explode like a volcano. Take a step back and realize that that person is probably trying to help you in some way. You're probably a little overly enthusiastic about something, and the people that are hindering you are probably just trying to help in the best way that they know how. And maybe it's not that you need to stop, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily need to fight back against these people. The other thing that's going on here is that there is a disruptive energy involving your finances. There could also be, especially if you're somebody who has children, a disruptive message that comes through involving your children, or a disruptive, maybe an ongoing dispute, an ongoing conversation that's really disruptive involving your children that is causing issues for you financially. And so there's a need to kind of step back and see this from an outside perspective. And that outside perspective that can really help you navigate this can come through your friendships. And so at the time of the full moon, looking at your friends, your group associations, your social networks as sort of like a different lens that's going to be more objective and more analytical, and that's going to see things in a new way from a new perspective will help you to navigate the changes that you need to make financially, or the changes that are coming already financially, much more effectively. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, there is something that you feel so fired up with when it comes to your finances. It could be that you want to make a big investment, a big purchase, but you are just jumping the gun. Like, there is something going on here where you are just lightning fast, pushing. Maybe you've been having a big expansion of your resources and now you want to spend it on something. And Saturn's coming in and saying, like, slow down. Maybe it's coming in through blockages to your resources or an unexpected expense, but it could just be that your friends, your networks, the people that you surround yourself with are like, what are you doing? Taurus, what are you thinking? This is crazy. This is wild. And you're having to kind of rethink things. This is, again, not a good time for you to loan money to friends or borrow money from friends, especially if it's to make a major purchase or a major investment. There's also this energy coming in from the 5th house that it's not the worst for you, Taurus, because it's going to be trining your ascendant sun or moon, but Venus in the mix with this T-square, it's kind of like there's something that you want to do, that you're really passionate about, that you really love, and maybe you want to funnel money into it, but it could also be that this financial situation that you're kind of over dramatizing in your brain is not conducive to what it is that you want to do when it comes to your passions, your hobbies, your interests, the things that you love, or it could cause some sort of disruption or challenge involving your children if you have any, or if you have grown children, they might be criticizing your financial decision making right now, and that could be really irking you, but they have your best interests at heart. And so you want to keep that in mind. The disruptive energy is about you. Like, you have been changing who you are, your trajectory in life, the way that you show up in the world for many years now, since 2018. And this is no exception to the rule. This is another burst of that energy. You're having to change your mindset about something really pivotal to the core of who you are and who you believe yourself to be and the way that you put yourself out there in the world. There's something that you're doing or saying that could be really disruptive to your family situation, and you just have to realize that, you know, it's shocking to them. It's shocking to the people that are your foundation. It's shocking to your parents. It's shocking to your immediate family that you are behaving in this way, that you want to make these changes, that you're saying these things. And so there could be blowback. There could be reverberations of this. There's also something that's on your mind when it comes to your home, your family, your property, your resources that you've been ruminating on and that your brain is all over the place with. The full moon will pull you out of that. You're going to be focusing a little bit more on career at the start of next week, or the week after, actually, around the 19th. And also by viewing things from this like goal-oriented long-term perspective, or viewing it through the lens of how these big changes and disruptions that you're trying to initiate or that are coming into your life will impact you when it comes to your goals, your plans, the things that you want to put out into the world, your career path. Also, If you want to gain an objective, third-party, outside perspective that's going to be more neutral and much more logical about this disruptive energy that feels uncomfortable in your home and in your personal experience, and maybe even with your relationships, you want to look to somebody who's in a position of authority, who you view as understanding things better than you do. So like a coach or somebody who has already been there, done that, and accomplished what you want to accomplish here. That's going to be your best bet for gaining perspective around the full moon on the 19th. And then for Gemini and for Gemini rising. For Gemini, you're feeling so amped up right now, Gemini. Oh my goodness. And the way that you convey what it is that you want and how you want it to be can be a lot for other people right now. You have a lot of passion. You've had a lot of really great opportunities coming to you so far this year. And now you're like, I want to just go all in on all of it. But there's something going on in your career and your public reputation. There's something going on, maybe from somebody in a position of power and authority that's telling you, you have to slow your roll. You can't do all of that. And so maybe you've been pushing something in the workplace and your boss is just like, stop, we're not doing that. We need to slow it down. Or maybe you've been pushing something really intensely when it comes to your public image, when it comes to you getting recognition for something. And something comes in from the outside and tells you, okay, you have to slow down. Or whatever it is you're trying to further is just being inhibited because you have to focus on your career and your long-term goals and objectives in your career as well. You can't just do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it all the time, which is how you kind of feel right now. Like you want to do that, but there's something floating up in the 10th house involving like this authority figure, this career path, these goals that you have, or this restriction or limitation that's coming from your workload. That's like, no, you can't just do all that. Also, there could be criticism or difficulty coming from your family. They mean well, if that's the case. They're not trying to stop you because they don't want you to be successful. They don't want you to do the thing that you love. They're trying to stop you because from their perspective, they're viewing it in a more piecemeal way. They're viewing it under a microscope and they're like, your plans don't really add up. Like you're jumping in too fast. And so this is a week where you might have to slow your roll. And that's okay. It's not going to feel nice, but it's okay. You actually need this, believe it or not. The other thing that's going on is the full moon in the sign of Aquarius, and this is squaring Uranus, which is in your 12th house. You've had a lot of like restless energy internally. You probably haven't been sleeping well. You might have been studying things that are very unusual behind the scenes, behind closed doors. Maybe you're in one of my astrology courses, but other people just don't get it. Regardless of what's going on here, there's a change in mindset about something. Mercury in the 3rd house is your day-to-day thought processes. It's your day-to-day conversations and communications. And something's coming up in these day-to-day thoughts, these day-to-day communications, your self-talk on a day-to-day basis that is disruptive to your plans, disruptive to your mindset about something that's causing you to feel restless internally or lose sleep. This energy of the full moon is going to pull you out of it. It could even be something as simple as you're really like thinking about buying a new vehicle or something like that because something came in and like, you know, shook that up. Like maybe you got in a little bit of like a fender bender, or maybe your car isn't working well, or maybe you just need to change something about your commute. It could be as mundane as that, or it could be as big as you having to change your ideas about something. You have to change your mind about something. You have to change the way you communicate something because it's off-putting to people. That could be part of it too. But this full moon is kind of pulling you into the 9th house of perspective. It's giving you very literally perspective through viewing things through the lens of your values, your philosophies, your religious ideologies, the way that you frame reality through the things that give you perspective, through your connection with God, through your connection with the universe, through your connection with a higher power and a higher perspective. Leaning on that will help you to navigate the chaos and disruption and all of the change that's coming. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising, The Mars-Jupiter energy indicates that there's something going on maybe behind the scenes that is happening in secret, where somebody could be working against you in secret. That could definitely be it. Or you're plotting something in secret that you're really passionate about. That could be part of it too. There could also be like a circumstance that's kind of overblown or inflated involving hospitals, rehabilitation centers, retreat spaces, things like that. That's going on maybe behind the scenes. But the most likely thing that's happening for pretty much everyone who is a Cancer rising is that you're not sleeping well right now with Mars in your 12th house. There's something that's keeping you up at night. This is also an energy here where there's like an inhibitory energy. So you're kind of like moving forward with something, a restructuring of your spirituality, a restructuring of your religious ideologies, a restructuring of your mindset around something, and maybe even a doubling down on religious or philosophical dogma. So you're thinking about something as becoming more dogmatic because Saturn is transiting your 9th house, and you're becoming almost like overzealous about it. And that could be something that is brought up to you through somebody in your community, somebody in your immediate environment, through communication of some kind, and that might irk you. That person is trying to help though. So you have to kind of take things from their perspective and understand that, what's going on here is not meant to harm you, but there could definitely be arguments and disputes coming up around that topic. The other thing that's going on is the full moon, which is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of other people's money. And this is highlighting Mercury and Uranus, which are in square in your 11th house of friendship and your 2nd house of finances. You're rethinking something about your financial situation and your financial plans. And this is big. Like, this is a big change. You already started thinking about it a few weeks ago. I talked about this in my last forecast. Definitely check that out. But it's coming back around in a way that's going to be more dramatic and bigger, and you just can't ignore it. You have to pay attention to it. Uranus is in the mix, and it's squaring the sun as part of this. And so there's a need here to change course financially. Make a big decision and change something. If it's something that's already come up in the past and you're having to redo it, that is completely okay. And that is actually in alignment with the Mercury retrograde energy. But you don't want it to be something brand new that you've never done before. If that's the case, you're kind of working it out in your brain, and maybe even getting that 8th house perspective from a financial advisor, from somebody else who can help you manage your money before you take the plunge in September when this Uranus Mercury square comes exact again. But that third party perspective is really important. Also, if there's somebody who you have joint finances involved with, you definitely want to get their perspective on what you're doing, or else you're going to cause a lot of problems and disruption in a negative way. So your spouse, your significant other, your business partner, anything like that, this is where you have to really consider what they want. And that might be disruptive in and of itself, but it's a part of the equation. For Leo and for Leo rising. For Leo, this Mars-Jupiter conjunction is happening in your 11th house of friendship. There is something that your social circle, your group, your tribe is really fired up about. And that could be, for the most part, a good thing. But for you, it could cause problems financially if you get involved in this, or if you go too hard, too fast in this. And so Saturn's saying, wait, rein it in. You don't have to do it just because the group is doing it, right? You don't have to do it just because your friends are doing it. You might feel really enthusiastic and passionate about it because you're getting caught up in their passion. And so you want to make sure that you have your ducks in a row financially before you launch all into that thing. There's also something here that could be positive that you're wanting to do with your partner, with your significant other. And that could be really exciting. That could be really positive. But again, you just want to make sure that your finances are a good foundation for what it is that you're doing before you move forward with it. The other thing that's going on here is that Mercury is in your first house in retrograde with the sun. There is a T-square going on here with the full moon in your 7th house and Uranus in your 10th house. There is a major disruptive energy going on with your relationships around the time of the full moon. Your relationships are under the microscope. They are being highlighted. There's already this need to change something when it comes to your career, your public reputation, what you're doing out in the world for your career, or what you're putting out into the world. It could even be something to do with your legacy that you leave behind after your working years. There's something going on here, right? You need to change something out there in the world that's been apparent for many years now. You might have been going through a lot of major changes of career and a lot of major changes in your job, and what you're doing out in the world since 2018. This is another pivotal moment for that. But there's something that you're initiating through an idea, through a communication, through a thought process that is disruptive to your career path and that is impacting your relationships. And you're going to have to view it from their perspective. Your partner or that other person in the equation who is coming to you right now is going to give you that outside, almost objective, more analytical perspective, and they're going to help you to navigate the changes that are going on in many areas of your life in a new way. You're probably changing as a person. Your identity is changing. Your home life could be changing. Your relationships could be changing. And definitely, again, that career path. And so this other person, this outside perspective is also going to be disruptive. And this is going to come around the 19th, but it's needed. It's a needed disruption and it's a needed perspective. So, pay attention to it. Don't just fight it. Don't, try to fight against it or rattle that person's cages. Take it into account, take it to heart. And then for Virgo and for Virgo rising, for Virgo, the Jupiter-Mars conjunction is in your 10th house. You are fired up about something to do with your career, with your public reputation, with something that you want to put out into the world at large. And oh my goodness, you are really wanting to push ahead. This is a big dramatic energy, but there could be somebody in your life who you're very close to. Maybe it's a business partner, maybe it's a spouse or significant other, maybe it's a close friend who is halting your progress. Relationships are inhibiting your ability to push forward with your big ambitions and big goals out in the world, even if they're not career related. And that could be a good thing because you're taking advantage of a lot of opportunities potentially all at once. And so this is helping you narrow it down. This outside perspective, this other person, your partner maybe, is helping you to rein it in, or the fact that they are inhibiting your ability to push forward can end up being a good thing, even if it feels really restrictive and really heavy at the time, because it's almost like there's an added responsibility in relationships that's preventing you from jumping all in. Also, you're being really critical of yourself. Around this time with Venus in the sign of Virgo, you're getting more attention. People are maybe a little bit more drawn to you, but you are having a lot of self-criticism, and that is also an inhibitory factor of you jumping all in. But again, that could be a good thing. The other thing that's going on here is that we have the full moon in the sign of Aquarius in your 6th house. And so this is an energy of needing to take a step back and review your day-to-day habits, your day-to-day routines, your day-to-day work life. And so there's something going on here. Let's backtrack here. There's something going on here behind the scenes involving your mindset about something. There's secrets that are maybe being shared that are disruptive and disruptive to your perspective on life, disruptive to your philosophies. It could also be having to take your spiritual ideologies and the things that you've been studying behind the scenes that are maybe a little strange or outside of the box or are more religious or spiritual, and incorporate them into your day-to-day experience, incorporate them into the physical reality of your life. And that could be a big thing too. Or just having to focus more on making changes when it comes to your health, when it comes to your work, when it comes to your day-to-day routines that are very important to your reality. That's a big thing that's going on here too. The other thing that's going on for Virgos in particular is there is something that you're thinking about maybe that you're not sharing. So there's a secret that you're keeping that might come out, especially in the workplace around this time, or it's a secret that somebody else is keeping that impacts you, that could be coming out in the workplace around this time. And then for Libra and for Libra rising, this energy of the Jupiter-Mars conjunction, which comes exact on August 14th, is happening in your 9th house. This is way better for Libras than it is for most other people. This is you really wanting to push forward with something that you want to teach, that you want to share with the world. Maybe it's some sort of course that you want to take or that you want to create. Maybe it's something around travel and really wanting to go out there and do something exciting, but you're having to rein it in because your work is calling, right? It's like you're being called back to the workplace. Maybe you've been traveling a lot this summer, but but now you have to get serious and you have to get back to work. That is okay. There's definitely this energy of feeling like you have to take advantage of this opportunity. And it could be an opportunity for learning and expanding your mind, but it could also be an opportunity for very literally like going someplace. But again, you have to take care of your life, your health, your day-to-day experience in order to facilitate that later on in a more positive way. You've overdone it. I should say. You've overdone it when it comes to travel. You've overdone it when it comes to adventure. You've overdone it when it comes to expanding your mind. And now you have to get back to work. The other thing that's going on here is that the full moon is happening in your 5th house. This is actually nice for Libra. There's been a lot of disruption and like disruptive communication going on involving your friends, your group associations, the people you surround yourself with by choice. And this is where you're kind of coming back into, it could even be that the things that your friends shared with you or the experiences you've had with your friends over these past few weeks, especially since the end of July, cause you to have to kind of take a step back and observe something or realize something about what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that you care about. This could also be that you've been focusing a lot on friends and networking, and now you need to shift that back and focus more on romance and love and play and this playful energy in order to get perspective about the changes that you're making financially and the changes that are coming through these networks, through these friends that are very dramatic and that are shaking things up for you. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. So for Scorpio, this full moon energy, actually, let's step back. For Scorpio, let's start with the Mars Jupiter. There is something big and overblown coming with your financial situation. It's almost as if money is on your mind. You're so passionate about investing your money in a certain way, or maybe paying off a debt or doing something financially, but there's something inhibiting that. That Saturn energy is coming in and saying, no, don't just jump in all wild. You need to take your time. You need to map this out. You need to make sure that this is going the way that you want it to go. You don't want to jump in too fast. You want to look at the long-term repercussions of your financial decisions. The other thing that's going on here is Venus is in the mix, and it's in the 11th house, and there could be some people that are critical of what it is that you're doing financially. There could also be an energy here that's really triggering to you when it comes to fears and anxieties, not necessarily around finances, but just in general, because the 8th house is the house of fear. It's the house of psychological issues. There's something that could come in your life that's not necessarily bad or traumatic, but it's triggering something that has happened in the past. It's triggering you to think about it, and it's causing like a reaction that's overblown. If that's the case, your friends who are trying to talk you down and you feel like they're nagging you or being critical of what it is that you're experiencing, they're trying to help you. It might not be the best way or the right way, but they're trying to help you. So you want to kind of take that into account. This is also not a good time to lend money to friends. Do not lend money to friends. That is the other thing that I will say for Scorpio rising. The other thing that's going on here is that we have the full moon happening in your 10th and in your 4th house. There's been a lot of change going on in your career and the trajectory of your public image, what it is that you're putting out in the world, in your business, your relationship with authority figures and things like that could have been disruptive as well. There's something going on here that's been really weighing on your mind where you're so confused because there's so many ideas and so many communications coming in, and it's just like your brain is fried. The moon is pulling you down into your home, your family. You have to focus on your roots. You have to focus on your family. That is going to give you a sense of perspective that you need in order to make the correct changes and to not speed through them, to not cause problems and disruptions that are unnecessary, but to make the correct changes, the correct plans moving forward for your career path so you can have what it is that you want when it comes to your legacy, when it comes to the work that you do out in the world, when it comes to the freedom and liberation that you want to feel in your career. You're going to get that, but you need to gain that sense of perspective, and spending time in the home or spending time outside of work or spending time just focusing on family, that's going to be your best bet. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, This energy of the Mars-Jupiter conjunction is happening in your 7th house of relationships. There could be a very dramatic situation coming up for you involving a close one-on-one connection, your partner, your significant other. There could also be a big new partnership that comes in that feels really exciting, that you're really, really amped up about, but maybe you're going in too hard, too fast. And there's something that you need to care for in your home environment involving your family and your roots that's going to prevent you from really going all in, and you could see it as maybe a hindrance in some way. There's definitely some energy going on in your career right now too, and your public standing. You might get recognized for something, but it's not happening in the way that you might want it to, or what's going on with your relationships and with your family might be kind of taking the energy away from it and taking you out of the spotlight, or taking that opportunity kind of away from you in some way, or causing you to not be able to focus on it as much as you might want to. The other thing that's going on here is that the full moon is happening in your 3rd house, which is a much better energy for Sagittarius than it is for a lot of the other signs. There's definitely been a disruption in your not your home life, your day-to-day work life and experience, a lot of changes going on in your work. It's been very hard for you to actually stick to any sort of routine. It's just been one shakeup after another. And right now it's the same thing. You're kind of going back and forth with something. There's going to be potentially something that changes for you involving an educational pursuit or some sort of travel plans. And it's not necessarily a bad thing if that happens. I would say that that's most likely going to be positive. It's almost like your work or your day-to-day routines kind of disrupt your travel plans and your travel experience that you want to have around the 19th. The other thing that's going on here is that there could be a need to stop traveling everywhere and focusing on these bigger picture things and focus more on what's happening in your immediate environment and your community. That's how you're going to gain the right perspective on the changes you need to make in your day-to-day life, in your work, in your education, in the way that you share your ideas and ideals with the world, all of it. Then for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. For Capricorn, the Jupiter-Mars conjunction is happening in your 6th house of health, work, and daily routines. You've probably been amped up about your fitness routine, your health, wanting to get fit, get healthy, feel better, look better, all of those things. Or this could just be a workaholic energy that you've been feeling, especially this past few weeks. This is going to kind of rein that in. There is a communication coming in that is going to slow your roll, or a perspective you're going to gain that's going to cause you to be more discerning and more critical of what it is that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. This is also an energy where there could be really difficult conversations and communications coming in involving the workplace. So employees, co-workers, that type of thing. There's some sort of argument and dispute that could come up, especially around the 14th and really through, later in this month even, but especially around the 14th, it could peak. It could already be there. There's something going on, drama in the workplace, and it's getting stronger around the 14th and around the 18th and 19th. And it's something that it's going to be hard to kind of rein that in and get a grounded perspective on it. Your best bet here is to not let it get to you, not let it impact your work. Slow things down. Don't react to what's going on, but respond. Respond from a place of higher perspective, of wisdom, of understanding. Use that Venus in the 9th house energy a little bit, because that's going to help you be more likable, because it's going to be trining your ascendant, sextiling your descendant if you are a Capricorn rising. And rely on your wisdom and rely on your philosophy and your values to help you work through this overblown energy. There's also a disruption going on here involving your finances, like a big financial decision or new information that comes in, or a disruption that's probably going to be more short term, but it's kind of ongoing, on and off to your joint financial ventures, to your investments, to something involving insurance payouts. Maybe you're going back and forth with an insurance company and it's just been a really disruptive, not necessarily great experience. There could be a lot of communication and disruption going on involving children and finances around this time. You really need to take it back down to the basics and view this from an outside perspective. There's like a lot of energy around fear and like this discomfort that's going on here. If you rein it back in and just come back to basics and just look at your budget, look at your savings account, look at the way that you're not just earning money, but spending money, and view things just in terms of numbers as opposed to everybody else's opinion and your thoughts about things and your worries and your fears, that's going to be the best way to navigate whatever's going on financially for you right now. And then Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Aquarius is having this Jupiter-Mars conjunction in your 5th house. So you're just feeling really passionate about something. This is a romantic energy. This could be a supercharged sexual energy. So this is a really great time to amp up the romance in your partnerships or to put yourself out there if you're so inclined, because you're more likely to have positive experiences in that way. There's also this energy though of wanting to go out and have fun. Like you're so amped up about just spending time out on the town, doing something that you really love, connecting with your hobbies, going out dancing, whatever it is. But there's a financial situation that's preventing you from really enjoying it all the way. And there is something here where maybe you're overspending on entertainment. Maybe you're overspending and overdoing it when it comes to going out to concerts, when it comes to going out to eat, when it comes to investing in your passions and these passion pursuits, where it's like, okay, I actually need to like budget a little bit. And there could even be like a third party in this 8th house of like a financial advisor or your CPA or accountant or something who's like being hypercritical of the way that you're spending your resources, and it's causing you stress, and you're like, I don't want to listen to you. I want to do this. But it also makes sense, right? And so this is a really good time to kind of take a look at your books. Don't overspend and overdo it when it comes to things that are just exciting in the moment, and take the advice to heart. If there is somebody who's managing your money or helping you manage your money who has an opinion. There could also be like a restriction of money that comes in around this time where all of a sudden you have to deal with focusing more on budgeting, or there's a big kind of burdensome expense that comes in. If that's the case, it's not the worst thing ever. There's energy helping you get through it, but it is going to, again, slow you down when it comes to the things that you're excited about doing. The other thing that's going on here is that the full moon is happening in your 1st house. You are in the spotlight. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption, a lot of change going on in your relationships and in your home life right now. Pull yourself out of that and just focus on you. What do you want? Who the heck are you? What can you do to care for yourself, to nurture yourself, to nourish yourself in some way? Pulling yourself out of focusing so much on these disruptive conversations and communications and this disruptive energy going on in your home environment, and just focusing on what you need. That's going to be the best way to work on and work through this energy, because there will be changes going on here. And there's like a disruptive message that came in through a relationship or through a one-on-one connection, or even about a contract probably a few weeks ago, that's coming back up right now, and it's not going to feel good. You're going to have to focus on like, what do you want? Not what does that other person want in the contract, not what does that other person want in the relationship. What do you want? Like, that's going to be the question, and that's going to help you gain perspective and navigate the changes in the right way. Finally, last but never least, Pisces and Pisces rising. For Pisces, the Jupiter-Mars conjunction is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, real estate. There's some drama going on behind the scenes in your home life, or there's something that you're really passionate about, like a big project, like you're renovating your home, you're buying a new home, you're selling your home, and you're just going all in, and it's too much. It's just too much. Saturn is coming into the mix and saying, and that's you, like you are being impacted by Saturn. So you're like, you know what? Whatever is going on here in our home life, maybe it's not even being driven by you. We need to rein it in. We need to be more responsible. We need to think about the long-term implications. We need to put down the right roots and the right foundations. There could also be someone in your life that's helping to provide a little bit of balance and perspective when it comes to maybe overblown, overdramatic situations with your family, or these big things that are going on in your home, these big like momentous changes that you want to make or things that you want to move forward or move into. That outside perspective of that other person, your close friend, maybe, your business partner, maybe your significant other, that's going to help you to, again, rein it in. You need to rein it in a little bit. That's basically what's going on here. Whatever you're doing behind the scenes at home, or whatever is going on with like dramatic, like infighting or communications with your family, you need to rein it in and think about it more logically, responsibly, linear, and you're going to be the voice of reason. Like, if everyone in your family is fighting, you are the voice of reason. And that's going to be really important. The other thing that's going on here is that the full moon's happening in your 12th house. You've been busy, busy, busy. Your brain is on overdrive. You're so busy in your day-to-day life the past few weeks. Like, you have so much going on that you can't even clear your head or think straight because you're just doing one thing after another, after another, after another. It could be work related. It could be that you're helping somebody in a caregiver role. It could be that you are, working on all these different new exciting fitness routines because you're changing things up in that way. Whatever it is, you need to pull yourself out of it around the 19th. That's a time for you to like hide, rest, like take the day off if you can from work, like pull yourself away from it and just meditate, just be tranquil, be quiet. It's going to be hard to do, but that's going to be the best way to gain perspective on all of the changes that you're making in your daily routines, in your work, in your health, all of it. And the communications that are coming in through your work or through your employees or through your coworkers that are super disruptive, you need to take some time away from it and just meditate on it to get your brain right and to think about things in a perspective that's going to help you to make the right changes and to communicate things in the right way, to have the right ideas, the right plans. And so this is a big thing for Pisces. And that is my forecast for all 12 zodiac signs. And 2 weeks from now, we're going to be doing, it's probably going to be 3 weeks from now because I'm doing this early, but we're going to be doing the video, the forecast on the new moon in the sign of Virgo. I actually like this new moon. It's opposing Saturn. It is highlighting the Saturn-Jupiter square a little bit. It's not super, super tight, but it's highlighting it. But it's not the worst full moon that we've had this year. And so this is going to be a time for us to take all the craziness, all of the changes, all of the radical, like shocking situations that have been going on that have completely thrown us out of our comfort zones over these last few weeks and really dissect it. Like really start to organize our plans, organize our ideas, organize our thoughts, and start to move forward with something in a more refined way. That's going to be that Virgo new moon. That's going to be a really great time to start thinking about things in that way, to set those intentions. It's kind of like we're coming back down to earth. We're more grounded and we're seeing things in a way that's much more logical, linear. We're able to take a breath. And so I like this energy on the 2nd of September, which we'll talk about in just a couple of weeks. And so make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss that. I hope to see you in class in my Celestial Vitality Workshop in September. If you like this video, like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.